Today we're going to talk about hills. Hills, if you don't prepare for them, if you're not ready to run up and down a hill in a race, they will trash your quads, they'll ruin your PR, and they'll turn a good race into a slog. So I'm Nick Cronin with Lafitte Running, and we're going to talk about today how to train and prepare for hills on your race. We're in Southern Louisiana, and in Southern Louisiana, we're not really known for our hilly territory. We're not known for our mountains. So, living in a flat place, how do you prepare for a hilly race coming up? There is Wild Azalea in January, and then there is also Red Dirt Ultra in February. Wild Azalea is known for its just rolling hills. They're not crazy steep, but there's a lot of them. You're just going up and down, and I've left that race with trashed quads more than once. Meanwhile, Red Dirt has what I call douchebag hills. Well, I don't call them that, but I like that name, douchebag hills, because they're just steep enough to where if you run up them, you feel like a douchebag for running up it. You burned way too much energy. But if you hike up them, you feel like a douchebag because they were way too easy to hike up. So they're in that nice little range of damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's kind of neat. It's a nice little challenge in the middle of a race. So how do you prepare for these hills in a place that don't have hills? Because the best way to train for a hill is to run hills. So what we've done is a couple of things. I have like 4 of my favorite ways to train for hills. One of the best, unfortunately, for your best bang for your buck is a treadmill. Get on a treadmill, increase the incline. What you do is you type in the name in Google, you type in the name of your race, and then you type elevation profile, and you'll get this neat little picture of what you're in for on your climbing. So like Boston Marathon elevation profile, I guarantee you'll find almost every race you'll find an elevation profile, unless it's a brand new race. Once you know that, is you know what to train for. Is there like one giant hill? Is there like 3 giant hills? Or is it just rolling hills back and forth? It depends per race, but simulate what you're going to experience. So hop on the treadmill, and if it's one giant climb, just run for a couple of miles and then just crank that bad boy up as high as the incline that you're going to experience, and just get used to that climbing. Or if it's just rolling hills, do like a 10-mile run on the treadmill and just go up and down on that elevation on the treadmill. Now, I'm probably not the only one in this category, but I hate treadmills. I cannot do them. My brain, for some reason, will run like 10 miles on the road, but you put me on a treadmill and I start fighting to get off of it. After like a quarter mile, I get bored, and I think it's a lack of stimulation. I don't know. I even watch it Netflix. I have to get off the treadmill. I just can't do it. So I've learned other ways to train for hills that don't involve a treadmill. So if you can do a treadmill, please do it. It's probably the best bang for your buck. But if you can't, or if you just want more creative ways to do it, there are my second favorite way to train for hills, especially rolling hills, is parking garages. Here in town, we have a hospital with a nice parking garage. Remember, cars are a thing, and you will die if they hit you. So keep your head on a swivel and go at a low time where there's not a lot of cars. Some people do like weekdays at like 5 a.m. I usually do on a Sunday around like 7 a.m. There's usually nobody in the parking garage, and it's perfect. And usually what you do is, on a parking garage, they're made for cars to drive. So the incline only goes up so much. Any more and the car would struggle. And it's the same with if you're going to go do a road race with a lot of hills on. Those hills are only going to go so steep, otherwise a car is not going to make it. So they're perfect for training for like Wild Azalea, where it's rolling hills, or most road races, you can be pretty confident using a parking garage to train for the hills in a road race. They're not going to get that much more steep than a parking garage. And all you do is just, I usually do about a 6-mile loop, and then I hit the parking garage. I start with 4 repeats. I go up and I go down. I go up 4 times. And the next weekend, I'll add 1 more. So I'll do 5, and the next weekend I'll do 6. And I'll build up the amount that I need to do. I usually do overkill because I'd rather overtrain than undertrain. So usually I'll work my way up, especially if it's really hilly, I'll work my way up to 16 repeats. You don't have to do that many. Kind of use your best judgment on how many you think you need to do. And that's probably a good way to work because I like them on a treadmill. Treadmills go up, but they don't really, some have a decline, but not many. And normal gyms won't have one that declines. Whereas running on a parking garage, you'll get to train for going up and going down. Downhill is its own little animal. See, when you run uphill, you're striving to run comfortable. So if you're doing like a 9-minute mile on a flat surface and you hit a hill, if you keep that 9-minute mile, you're going to trash your legs. So slow down a little bit and just keep running at the same perceived effort as when it was flat. So if that means dropping down to like a 10 or an 11-minute mile, perfect. Stay comfortable. So if that means hiking, like power walking up that hill, as long as you're staying comfortable, power walk up. If that means like a long, slow slog up that hill, as long as you're comfortable hiking up speed, you're doing good. Because the goal is to not trash your quads. The opposite is true for downhill. If you go slow, if you try to decelerate going downhill, you're going to trash your quads because your quads have to control that downhill and it just kills your legs. So my advice has always been on a downhill, think of it like speed for free. Use the advantage of the downhill to cruise at a fast pace, and the way to get used to that and comfortable with that is to run down the downhill of the parking garage at a good comfortable clip and go faster than you think you should. You want to do that little dividing line between in control and out of control. You want to be just almost out of control, and it's perfect for that. Now that's me. I like to push it a little fast on the downhills. If you want to slow down a little bit, you can. But I find that it's actually way more comfortable just to go down it at a good fast pace, and parking garages will help you for that. The other way to train for it that I find that I really like is to hit that anaerobic threshold. Build up your capacity for anaerobic running. And there's a bunch of different ways to do it, but most of it involves like a high intensity interval training. So burpees. Burpees are always a fan favorite. Burpees are a good way to feel that burn. Also anything else HIIT training like push-ups and squats versus a punching bag. But you want to kind of simulate running more than anything else. So while those are good ways to do it, the best way to do it is high intensity interval training with running. So you want to do those short duration sprints where you're hitting that anaerobic zone. And you know you're hitting an anaerobic zone if you can't talk while you're running. So strides are a good way to train for it. As well as like 200-meter repeats or 400-meter repeats. The goal is to go as fast and as hard as you can, hit that anaerobic zone. But remember, don't go very far because usually a hill ends quicker than you think it would, especially unless you're doing like a mountain race. Hills end quicker than you think they would. So you don't have to train for very long. And if you're hitting the right amount of anaerobic, you're not going to be able to train for long anyway. So the more anaerobic capacity you have, the better you can climb up those hills. I also like a good weight sled, basically dragging something heavy. In fact, I'll do another video on there on what a weight sled is and how to use it for training. But weight sleds have the best bang I've ever felt. Like basically climbing up a hill and pulling a weight sled feel exactly the same. And so far, it's my favorite way to do it. So I'll do another video on how to use that because it's really cool. That is probably the best way to train for those four are probably the best way to train for a hilly race. If you have any other ideas or you've done a thing that works crazy well for you, please put it in the comments. I love trying out new things and new ideas. Also, if you have any questions or anything like that, you can put that in the comments. I appreciate it, and y'all have a great day.